the July 21st Board of Education meeting. The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or agreed upon. In accordance with the provision of this act, the Manawan Aberdeen Regional School District Board of Education advertised this meeting on July 17, 2025 in the Asbury Park Press. This notice was sent to the municipal clerks of the Borough of Manawan, the Township of Aberdeen, and the Manawan Aberdeen Public Library. The notice was also placed on the website. Can we please stand for pledge of allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Here.
Ms. Vilas?
Here.
Mr. McGovern? Mr. Montone?
Here.
Ms. Pell?
Here.
Ms. Scott?
Here.
Ms. Burrell?
Here.
Ms. Martinez?
Here.
Ms. Warnicki?
Here. Be it resolved that a closed session be convened for the purpose of discussing privacy, personnel matters, and legal advice. The subject matter of these discussions will be disclosed to the public when the reason for confidentiality subsides. Although the board cannot guarantee it, the length of executive session is estimated to be 40 minutes, after which the public meeting of the board shall reconvene and proceed with business. Action will take place. Can I have a motion and a second to enter executive session?
I'll motion.
Thank you. Returning to public session, can I have a motion and a second to accept the minutes of the committee? Of the committee of the whole meeting from June 5th, executive session 1 and 2 from June 5th, regular action meeting minutes from June 16th, and executive session 1 and 2 meeting minutes from June 16th.
I'll motion. I'll second.
Okay, superintendent's report, Ms. Perez?
Good evening, everyone, and happy summer. This evening, we have Mr. Josh Aronowitz, our Supervisor of Athletics, who's going to be presenting this evening on athletics and our extracurricular. Go ahead, Josh.
So thanks for having me. Superintendent Perez wanted me to present on some of the things that we've done this past year and what's looking forward for the upcoming year. So welcome to Lloyd Road School. I'm going to talk a little bit about the athletic programs at the high school, the middle school, and some of the co-curricular activities at the high school. So these are our fall sports offerings. You can see we offer a number of things in the fall: marching band, football, girls soccer, boys soccer, cross country, football, girls tennis, dance, field hockey, and our esports team. And we have multiple levels at all of these sports, interscholastic sports. Depending on the numbers, sometimes we add a little bit, sometimes we have to take away, but once the teams get in August, we'll see where we're at with the numbers. But participation numbers for this past fall were really good. We had 310 athletes in the last fall. Our biggest one was football with 88 participants. So I'm working on 2 computers here. So, cheer was another one that was up there with the numbers. Our other numbers were a little bit down, and that's been the trend with field hockey, boys soccer, girls soccer. Some teams around the area are starting to lose some of the lower levels, but our varsity programs are all intact. Again, we evaluate how many kids we have, what we can sustain. We don't want a schedule out there where we have 9 freshmen one day and then 7 freshmen another day. We want to make sure we have enough numbers to compete consistently in the short conference when we're building out our schedules. But again, football at 3 levels has the most participation. Our marching band and color guard also had good participation numbers, and we expect those numbers to grow after the success they had last fall. Winter sports, I want to thank you for approving the new co-op with swimming. We're excited about that. We know we had 3 or 4 girls that were asking us, emailing me and Mr. Wells about swimming. So we're going to co-op with Monmouth Regional, similar to the program that we have with ice hockey, where the parents will pay to play. They'll get them there, no cost to the district, but gives an opportunity for some people to swim. And I know some of the younger boys have reached out that dive or swim locally are excited about it as well. So I think that the numbers will grow slowly. I don't think we're gonna have 20, 30 kids participating in it, but you can see, anywhere between 8 and 12, and it gives them an opportunity to swim interscholastically somewhere. Boys basketball, we still have 3 levels there. Girls basketball, which I'll talk a little bit more later in the presentation, is growing. We do have 2 levels there, but we could be looking at possibly a freshman team in the very near future. Our cheerleading program, something we talked, me, Mr. Wells, and our cheerleading coach, is basketball cheer is great. The fans love it, the boys love it, the girls love it, but some of the cheerleaders don't always like going to the basketball games, and they have expressed some interest in competition. So it's something that we are going to look at, but the thing is it's hard to do both. So we have to talk about it at our budget meeting this upcoming year. Does basketball cheer stay on, or do we move to a competition team where they start going locally? We're not sending them all the way down to Orlando right off the bat, but Wayne, Atlantic City would be a bigger competition, and I know in town there is a growing cheer program with the AYF, and we could see some maybe more interest in competition moving forward. Like I said, I don't think the basketball cheerleaders themselves would be upset with the program. They would be happy. Maybe some of the parents would want to see cheerleaders at the games, but it's something we all have to talk about and make a decision for the future. So I want to make you aware that those conversations could be coming down the line. Indoor track is very successful. Numbers are growing. Boys, our bowling team, believe it or not, is probably one of our most successful teams over the years. They continually win the division, which I'm going to highlight in a little bit. Winter Guard, still going to some competitions, and our wrestling program. That's one of our feature programs on this presentation. Our wrestling program is doing good. I'll talk a little bit about Matt Hughes and all the things that he's doing. But the way that program's heading, it's going to be successful for a very long time. We have our ice hockey co-op, short conference championship game. They fell short a couple goals, but they're doing a really good job, taking our players in. I know it's not easy getting down to Howell, but if you play ice hockey, you're usually used to traveling a little bit all over the state, country to play. Our dance team, which does do some competitions, and I think that's where the cheerleaders and dance are kind of looking at it. Well, dance does some competitions. When can cheer do some competitions as well? So they do about 2 or 3. They're not heavily involved in all the competitions, but they are out there. And then our unified sports, just 2 years ago, state championship in bowling. We're looking to expand what they're doing. Maybe offer a couple basketball games this year. And I know people are trying to find different ways to have the unified sports kids participate differently than just bowling. We offer some other sports in the spring. We're going to continue to look at that. Numbers-wise, I kind of ran through it already. You kind of got the gist of where the numbers are. Wrestling, largest program, followed by track. Track always has good numbers. Ice hockey with the co-op, we had 12. I think we graduated a couple of seniors, right? This goalie, 2 or 3. I'm not sure of the incoming freshmen yet, but those numbers again with the co-op will stay around between 8 and 12. Spring, baseball, softball, tennis, outdoor track, huge numbers. Girls flag football, the talks of the fastest growing sport. Our team did really well this year. It kind of made a turn. They had a positive record. They were winning. And I think we have 1 more year with the pilot. They extended that. But so 2027, though, the girls are going to have to make a decision whether they're playing flag football or track. They cannot do both. So they did extend that. Some schools are making girls pick this year so they can see where they're at. We didn't open up registration. Maybe that's a talk we could have, whether we want to look at that. But right now there's only about 6 or 7 girls, and they're mostly track girls. None of the softball girls are playing. They're track, and when I asked the track girls what they would pick, all of them said flag football. And one of them was a really good track athlete, but they just like being part of the team, and it's a little bit different than just competing for yourself. Girls flag football, 27 on the roster, so we did have varsity and JV. Baseball had 2 levels. We anticipate possibly having a freshman team this year. They may have to play on off days of the JV, but we're going to try and work in a little bit of a freshman schedule. But again, if there's only 9 freshmen, it's hard to just go freshman only, but we can maybe find them some games. I think this past year we did find them 2 games to play, even though we didn't have a freshman team. We were able to get some time in for them. Track numbers are through the roof. Our track program here has been successful for years. 120 plus kids, and it's even at the middle school level, those numbers are high. So those numbers are always going to stay really large. This is last year's kickoff. We partnered with the Tigger Stavola Foundation. We're going to do that again on August 18th. I have a phone call actually probably this week to find out who's going to come speak. We're going to get all the athletes in the auditorium at the high school on the opening day. Football opens up a week earlier, but once all the teams are back, we bring them on. And last year they fed us. Whether they feed us or not, we're going to have them in the gym. And that's a good opportunity for me and Mr. Wells to go over expectations for the year. You're going to talk about any of the policies that, if you're absent from school, the vaping policies, smoking, drinking, steroids, expectations on and off the court. So it's a good way to kind of get them focused before you get in the building. We did this last year. We're going to do this again in coordination with the AYF cheer and flag football. We're going to invite the team out on September 12th. That's our first home game at Madawan High School. So they'll be called out to the field. They'll run through the tunnel. They'll stay on the field for the national anthem. They'll get to see the varsity team run out. And it was well received last year. And they get to wear their jerseys. You wear your jerseys, you get it free. Cheerleaders line up with our cheerleaders. It was a really nice thing that we set up, and we want to continue to do that. Social media. So we have 877 followers on Instagram, and Instagram started this past September. X, formerly Twitter, was started when I first came in 2 springs ago in May. Now, 102 followers. Twitter is not getting as much followers from the kids and the parents, but Twitter does post a lot of the news articles. So I'm able to take those from the Twitter and put them on Instagram. And if I post on Instagram, I'm posting on Twitter. It's the same content. But just so you see how many posts we've had, and this isn't even just the stories. We've had 340. I posted 348 times throughout the school year. So you're looking at almost 2 posts a school day. And sometimes it's more. So I'm trying to highlight our athletes, tell the community about upcoming games, partnering, special events, all league, all conference, all shore, stuff like that. We get to put all these things on there. And I'm able to use graphics. We get the collegiate style looking graphics, putting the logos of our schools. I can put some of the players' pictures in, and we've been able to really highlight a lot of things on social media. And I'm getting really good feedback on it. I got to turn my phone off actually for how many likes we get on some of these posts. I'm sure most of you follow us. It's a lot of movement on social media. The Short Conference does this great program called Student Ambassadors. This year, our student ambassadors are going to be Benjamin Morales. He's a senior. He did it last year as a junior, and our new junior is going to be Riley Karnofsky. She also applied for the NJSIAA Student Ambassador with the state. That's something that comes around every June. The state picks about 12, 13 kids in the entire state. I don't know the last time we've had someone get selected, but she did put her application in. If she gets it, that's awesome. We'll have a voice at the table as a student ambassador down with the NJSIAA. If not, she has a voice with the Short Conference. And we do an in-person meeting in Howell. That's last year's picture. So 2 representatives from the Short Conference go down to Howell. There was a former wrestler that spoke. They always have a guest speaker. It's a pretty cool event, and they give them some lunch. But then throughout the year, there's virtual meetings. They're trying to expand their social media where kids are sending messages to other teams. It's a pretty cool program, and that's run by the athletic director over at Henry Hudson. So he's the lead on that, and then obviously all of us are trying to help promote student leaders within the short conference. Our fall recognition games, there's a lot of TBDs on there because it's too early. Some of the teams want to see how they're going to be before they pick who they want to play on senior night or move the time. But we do know that the football, cheer, dance, and marching band will be on October 3rd because that schedule's set. And we're going to be doing our homecoming and pep rally after. And the reason the homecoming pep rally is going to be after October 3rd is because of the Jewish holiday. And we're doing a dance the night before the homecoming day. Something new this year. We're going to have the dance, I believe, in the cafeteria. And we're going to name our homecoming king and queen at the dance. I think it's going to get the kids there. We did a winter dance, and we had a good turnout, but we want to see if we do this in the fall, if kids will come out, and if we're going to announce the homecoming king and queen at the dance, I think everyone's going to be there. So our senior student council advisors are on board with it, Mr. Wells. I think it's going to be a good night. I don't think we're going to cater it or anything like that. It's like we sit down, maybe some pizzas for sale, but a DJ, play some music, and they can get dressed up if they want and be in the cafeteria. If you saw the winter dance, it was really nice. So I think it could be a new tradition that goes forward for years to come. Our senior nights, another night to recognize everyone. You've seen what we do. We announce them. You walk out with your parents or family members. But we brought senior banners like other schools are doing. So every team got the senior banners this year, whether the boosters paid for it or the kids themselves paid for it. It wasn't really a big issue that all the teams were represented. I know track was the one that had a lot of seniors. It was like, I don't know if we could afford this every single year. So they did a group senior picture, and we just displayed that at the end of the year. But we did it in the gym. We hung them in the gym. We hung it all around the field. We hung them at the baseball field, the softball field, and then the softball game got moved over to Oak Shades. We took the posters with us, and then the kids get to keep them. Every school does it, so I want to make sure that those were hanging around the facilities, and I think everybody loved them. So we're going to partner with Normandy Studios when they come in to do the team photo packages. Seniors just step to the side, take their picture, and then you get a poster just like this. They're all the same layout, just their name, the year, and the sport that they play. They may tweak the graphics a little bit, but again, it's all the same for consistency. All right, you're not going to be able to read this, but there was just too much to put on one slide. I'm highlighting some things that happened this year with our teams and our individuals. Our girls and boys bowling teams were the division champs. Our boys spring track team was the B North Division champions. Marching band and color guard were our state champions. 17 of our 20 NJSI sports made the state playoffs. And our ice hockey team in the co-op was made it to the short conference championship game. Then you have a lot of individual stuff. You have 100 wins wrestling, you have 1,000 points, basketball, you have 100 career hits for 2 athletes on here. You have 100 career strikeouts, for 1 for baseball, 1 for softball. Raymond on the tennis team has been a 2-time state qualifier. That's the top 64 in the state. We have first place district winners in wrestling. We had 3 wrestlers go down to Atlantic City for the state tournament. We had 7 kids qualified for the group championship meet for track and field in the spring. So that means they did really good at the sectional meet and they moved on to groups. And a lot of them had tough choices that week. They had to choose prom weekend or go to the state meet, and all of them figured it out and went to the state meet. We also had that with softball too, where we had to move the game up a little bit so we could get them to prom. And all 3 girls played the game. They beat Mid-North, and then they were in their dresses a few hours later. It was kind of cool. Yeah. And just for the record, Mid-North seniors did not show up. They had prom as well, but our seniors did. So it just shows some of the commitment from our girls.
Before you change slides, I think we need to clap for everything you just said.
If you want to print out, just email me. I'll send you. This is something that I thought was awesome, and I think you've seen some of these pictures. Tremendous feedback from the kids. These were we call them media days. So not the team pictures that you bought. We had a photographer come in on a specific day, fall, winter, and spring, and he took these cool pictures. We told the kids, bring props, do whatever you want. Some took it to the next level. Some just took a quick shot. Some of them got with their buddies. Some of the coaches jumped in. There's like hundreds of pictures and galleries that we shared out with the teams. They were free to download. So I know all the kids loved it right away. You can see like all the hits, downloading right away. If you wanted to purchase a picture, you could through the website that it was linked on. But the coaches at first were like, what are we doing here? What are we going to do? I said, just let the kids have fun. And there was a video for each of the seasons, like a little hype video that we posted, some music in the background. We flipped through the pictures. The kids were doing some action stuff, dancing, the water vapor machines. That racket was not on fire. That's just an edit right there. We didn't do that in the building. So I like to continue the media days. The price of it is well worth it, and it's not that expensive to get all these pictures and all these teams done. It's a long process. It's a day, and you might have to cancel practices. But again, I think it's worth it, and I think the kids really liked it. You can see how they got into it. Some of them are really creative. State conference recognition. The short conference does a sportsmanship brunch down at the RWJ Arena in Toms River. That's a Sunday in May. Those are two recipients this past year. We had our NJSIAA Scholar Athlete Luncheon at the Pines Manor in Edison. And then we also participate in the NJSIAA National Women's and Sport Day, where one female athlete gets to go to the Rutgers women's basketball game. Their name goes up on the Jumbotron. They walk out, they get to go to certain spots, get some photo ops, and they get to watch a game. Signing day, pretty successful this year. 15 total athletes. I think 2 were not pictured here. So the picture on the left was at the end of the year. We kind of gave the athletes some time to think about where they wanted to go. Some schools will do 3 signing days, but when we were about to do our first one, we only had 2 kids. And we thought it would be a little bit better where we could pack the stands in the gym and have all their peers there with multiple people, families, and it becomes a nice event. So I think we'll continue to do that unless we have a special case. And I think you all know we did this year. We had a Division I football player at Rutgers, so there was a date that we were supposed to do the signing by. Not that if we didn't do it, he still was going to sign, but December 4th, I think that morning he gets his official paper from Rutgers, so we invited his whole family there. We held it in the evening so they can make it, and that was a kind of a special thing because that mom bought some pizzas for everybody, desserts, and there's a lot of people there for that event. And he's doing really well from what I'm hearing. Doing really good. Facility upgrades, some of the projects that we've did or we're going to do. I'll actually start right to left and go up. Mr. Wells's dream was to have avenue banners like a college. So we put them up on the athletic side, so when you come into the parking lot, you'll see the banners hanging on the light post that say Mattawan Regional High School, and they have the logo. If we had more posts to put them on, we will. We're going to look around, see if we can hang them anywhere else. But it looks really nice when you're coming in. Our new scoreboards are installed in the gym. We have 2 in both corners. They're in the same spot, but they just have a different, little wider, not as high. All the bolts work, and a nice logo on top. And then to the left is August 1st, Mr. Wells, I think we're hearing. New gym floor, possibly. That's the mock-up that we had. Talking with the floor company. The gray is a trend right now, and it happens to be our colors, so we're going to go light gray with a dark gray key, keep the maroon border, and it's light wood all around. Our logo will remain the same in the middle. We changed the block font to a script Huskies, and the baseline also has the gray in there. So At first, we were thinking white for the logos, but after time, the white and yellows. If you look at the court now, it's becoming more yellow, and it was recommended to stay away from the whites if you wanted to stay looking nicer for a little bit longer. So we decided to go with the grays with Mr. Wells, Mr. Carlson, Chris Villa, for company. We all had a conversation, and this was the final product. So new scoreboards, new court, new coach. Should be fun. Some big events that we've had throughout the year. One that was really interesting that we had to put together real quick was the Marching Band State Championship Parade. I want to thank both towns for being on board, but it was kind of like, hey, just call us and we'll get it done. They met at St. Clements and they paraded all the way through Main Street down to the high school. So the police departments, ambulance, fire, town councils, everyone was on board with that. That was a little bit of coordinating, but it was well worth that whole event, and those kids, and I think everyone in town's going to remember that for a long time. So now we have the blueprint laid out, so the next state championship, everyone's ready to go. We can do that. We hosted the short conference and middle school wrestling tournament. We are going to host that every other year. Each school hosts an all-star event or a tournament. So we hosted it this year. It's a big event. It's 10 different teams coming in. So every other year we'll host that. We're going to switch on and off with the Hazlitt Middle School. We did host the NJSW Wrestling District Tournament. It's a great event. Our coaches put a lot of work into that. They stay on top of it. They make it real easy for me. They lay everything out. We're there. We just supply the support that they need, and it's a great event where we host the districts. I will say that there were no police arrests at our districts, but there were some in South Jersey. Husky Relays, event that's been going on for a really long time, almost 1,000 participants, coaches, teams come from all over the state to this event. That was held late March or usually early April. Sam Turner, again, does a lot for that event, and the track coaches, a lot of officials, and it's a good fundraiser for the track team every single year. They also host the Monmouth County Frosh Stop Championship, and we host one day of the spring track B North Division meet. Neptune took the other half, so we won that event as well. Something that I think was a concern right before I came here was making sure that we're allocating time for our students and our community. We've taken a lot of steps to ensure that our fields are permitted by our groups, priorities given to our programs that are approved by the Board of Education first, or the PTO, or the boosters, or our local recreation programs. We've had a lot of outside organizations trying to get on our field, in our facilities. I know it's been an ongoing battle, but I could say that the field, the outside organizations are really no longer there. Occasionally we'll see a couple private lessons here and there, but it's pretty easy just to say, hey, you need a permit, and they leave. And we've been going back and forth with some of our outside organizations in our gyms, but I think they finally have the message that our kids and our programs are going to come first. So bridging the gap between the high school and the rec programs, I talked about them a little bit before, and a lot of their success is because they are doing things like this. Girls basketball, wrestling, baseball, softball, and our cheer programs are the ones I want to highlight right now. Our wrestling program, Coach Hughes has done a tremendous job trying to bridge the gap. He's been hosting a summer clinic, I guess you'd call it, every Wednesday night for the youth and the high school kids. It's the youth put the permits in, and Coach Hughes has been supplying the coaches, whether they're national wrestlers, state level wrestlers, coaches, referees. He's been bringing them in on Wednesday night, and they've been teaching the kids a lot about wrestling. And that program, like I said, is really growing, and it's his connection that he has with the wrestling program down below. Same thing with our girls basketball coach, Chrissy Suko. She spends a lot of time in this district with the girls basketball teams. The numbers are up, the wins are starting to come. I know historically girls basketball struggled in the division we're in. They're starting to get the wins. She's growing from the bottom up. She partnered with AMYAA for a second annual clinic. She now has 6 travel teams, grades 2 through 8, that she's pretty much coaching with her staff or former players. She's collaborating with colleges like FDU, NJIT, East Stroudsburg, with their coaches to come in, talk to the girls. They're taking team trips as a whole program from second grade all the way to high school. They were just at the WNBA game the other night, so it's just bridging the whole gap between girls basketball, and we're really happy the way that program is headed. Baseball, kind of like you see some of these Catholic schools or private schools promoting like ID clinics or find out what it is to play Ranny baseball. They offer these camps or showcases for 7th to 8th graders, trying to get them to come in. Well, Coach Karnofsky did the same thing this year for Matawan. He went over to center court, with their program. He put a flyer out with their boosters, and he had all 7th to 8th graders come find out what it is to play Huskies baseball, meet the coaches, run through some drills over at center court. And I think that just keeps bridging the gap between the two programs. This past year, the 9U and 10U town teams asked for some more time in the gym, kind of like the softball teams do. So we offered them the lower gym to go for pitchers and catchers. And it just so happened that both of those teams did win a Cal Ripken district title this year. So the extra work paid off. I won't brag too much about the 9U. I'm the head coach of the 9U team, but we did win the district tournament as well. But it was fun, and I think it shows get them coming to the high school and working out there a little bit, and then the ID clinic in a couple of years, the middle school program, it all kind of comes together. Both baseball and softball were invited to the opening days for MABRL and AMYAA. Our coaches at softball throughout the first pitch, they were announced, they got to shake all the hands, and at MABRL, the boys baseball team makes a tunnel for all the kids to run out, so they're present for those. And I think when I talk to the high school kids, they all remember their days at Oak Shades and Toomer, and I think it's just kind of like a passing of the torch thing that's been going on for a little bit. But with the new softball coach, doesn't know about these traditions, and he still did it. He's doing a great job. They had a really successful year, a state playoff win his first year, county win. He's growing that program. We lost our JV program this year, but he thinks that by building from the bottom up, he'll get it back. He offered a 4-day camp for ages 10 through 14 at Oak Shades with their boosters, so the girls get to see who the high school coach is. And again, it's all from building from the bottom up to feed our programs. And cheer recently put they helped out with the AYF clinic. So the town they're trying to build up their local football. Cheer used our gym, and they asked our cheer coaches and cheerleaders to come to help out. And talking to the AYF cheerleader, head of the cheerleader, said that our girls were amazing. They helped us out. They ran the whole thing. We were really happy with that. They actually added a second clinic a few weeks later, said, could we do this again? So we're just trying to bridge the gap with these programs. And we're going to continue to do this with all our sports. But these are the ones I really wanted to highlight today, so you can see all the good things and a lot of the extra work that the coaches are putting in. Middle school athletics, we have a number of programs in the fall, the winter, and the spring. We're in the short conference of middle school. Those are the 10 schools that we compete against, so it gives us a built-out schedule where we don't need to find any games. We also offer a bunch of intramural programs at the middle school, such as flag football, volleyball, floor hockey, basketball, and bowling. So if they don't make the basketball team, or they're interested in flag football, they have that, or maybe they don't know what hockey is yet. I know ice hockey and floor hockey are two different things, but maybe someone really likes hockey and wants to explore that, right? So it's just a way for them to get involved with some sports if they're not playing the traditional sports that we offer. Our co-curricular activities, freshman orientation, we do these fairs in the cafeteria. You've probably seen pictures of this. We did one in the media center at the high school when the 8th graders came up in May. We also do it during the Husky Experience where our coaches come to that one as well. So the 8th graders are seeing the advisors, they're seeing the coaches multiple times. That way when they come up to the high school, and then I think like the first few weeks too, we offer them time to go sign up with the clubs, kind of like a rush. Or last year was something new, we did the virtual club fair where Mr. Wells can put that in his weekly email and parents can kind of see all the clubs. There's Google Classroom codes in there, there's advisors, emails, and those are just a couple of samples of over 50 slides that we have in a show that we can push out to the parents, the first week of school so that the kids know where to go. In closing, again, thank you for having me here. There's a lot of information. This job is nonstop with all the activities we run at the high school. I think that our programs and our coaches and our advisors and the support that we have from everyone in town, everything, I thought it was a really good year, and I believe that this next year is just going to be even better. With the facility upgrades and branding our programs, and now the coaches kind of a year under my belt too, is seeing my vision and talking to them. I think we're just going to continue to grow all our programs, be more competitive, and hopefully keep all our Huskies in town. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Any questions? You got it. Any questions?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming on top of all this other stuff, spending some time with us and letting us know. It was really insightful to see all the things that are going on, and congratulations. It sounds amazing.
Thank you.
Couple of things. So you talked about the policies at that day in the beginning of I guess when they go back to school at the beginning of the season, just having all the athletes together. And you did talk about like vaping and homework and grades and all that. So I think this is true, correct me if I'm wrong, but the athletes are held to an even higher standard than the rest of the student body in terms of some of those policies. So I just wanted to reiterate how important it is to relay that to those kids, because they are looked at, as role models, as mentor, people look up to them as mentors. So knowing that they kind of have to be even more, give an example of how to be a good student and athlete. We will make sure that we get your social media handles promoted on the board Facebook page so we can get more followers for you. Also, in terms of the homecoming, I like the idea of having them crown at the dance. I think a homecoming dance is nice. We had them growing up. Everybody went. It was a big thing. I know that it's kind of dwindling lately, but that would be nice if we could get interest in something like that. Will they still also be honored at that homecoming football game?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the whole court will be walked out at halftime with part of the whole ceremony as well.
Okay, good. And lastly, I want to commend those senior girls who I actually know, Madeline to Christopher, saw the pictures, played the game, and then was all dolled up for prom. So excellent show of commitment there for their sport, and being able to also have that milestone. So,
Yeah, that's
thank
why
you.
she was probably voted player of the year too.
Yes.
She got a big commitment on that.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
I never have. Hello? Okay. All right, perfect. So thank you. This was very helpful, and I learned a lot too, which is great. I just wanted to say the community has noticed, having kids, or having multiple last year, one this year, in the high school, I have heard a lot of parents and family members talk about that they've noticed the exposure. So like the senior nights, for example, the manners in the past, we used to only do them that senior night, kids took them home that night.
Right.
Now, the fact that they're lined up throughout for every senior, like you see everybody, it just makes such an impression. It's awesome. Honestly, it's great. So that people have commented on the Instagram as well. And I know the kids like it too, because if they want to go to a game and something changes with the game or something, they can find out,
Yeah.
great about updating that, so we
Yeah.
know. So that's been fantastic. In terms of co-ops, I love co-ops. You know, I think it's a great way for kids who play sports that typically there's not a large participation here. They're still able to do it and feel like they're representing their school. So I love that. And I also thank you because this year I think hockey was recognized more, like they felt like part of the school, which I think is great. So if swimming does the same, fantastic, because these kids, you know, it's not, you know, they just really like that.
Yeah.
They like being able to represent their school. So that's fantastic. When you were talking about the town sports programs and helping us grow numbers in the high school, I love what you've done with that. And then soccer, you know, you were mentioning it's dwindling, the boys and girls. So, you know, we have AMSC in town, but I also know that at a certain point, it tends to take a major drop, like everybody goes out to academies.
Yeah.
So I don't really know the best ways to link the two, but,
Yeah.
you know, I feel like there might be an opportunity.
I've talked to both coaches, trying to get them in there a little bit. I know they've had turnover of the
Yes.
board too, and trainers and stuff like that. So, and I also think that in town, baseball and softball have become so big in this
Yeah.
town.
Yeah.
And it's all year round,
Yeah.
and soccer's all year round.
Yeah.
Kids are starting to choose baseball and softball over soccer. There's still that kids that play soccer, but baseball numbers and softball numbers are like exploding with travel recently. And I think that's a little bit part of the numbers in town, and that's funneling up to the high school. But our coaches are going to try and get down there and talk to them a little bit and show face, but it might take a little bit to bring soccer back up.
I think the other thing that I wanted to mention is I feel like the coaches are really good about, so sports are so different from when we were all kids, like now it's year round. In order to progress and potentially play in college, you have to play year round. I think what our coaches are good at is helping kids to balance and understanding that, you know, your first love may be this, but there still may be a place for you to learn another sport. So I think they've been fantastic in high school with that. So just wanted to say that. Media days, fantastic, love that. King and Queen, as Ms. Wernicke said, I think that would definitely help attendance. And then we just wanted to point out the ID days, kind of similar. Hockey does a similar thing to where they pull 8th graders, like they just kind of let them know and invite them to come to a practice before the real season starts. Captains.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's all I wanted to say. So thank you.
Thank you.
Danielle, you want to go? No. Thank you so much. I second, third, and fourth, everything that was said. Thank you. I can't, this is very helpful. My kid's been out for a little while now, but this was awesome. I do wanted to ask you, well, first of all, running the policy committee, I thank you so much for really paying attention to those policies that we feel like sometimes we spend days, weeks, months reading, getting them, fixing them, reading, and then they don't always get followed 100% sometimes. So thank you for making sure that those are being done. And what triggered this question is part of the policy. So I know you said you're on Instagram and Twitter. Are you the only person that is in charge of posting? I know there's been a lot of times like, we can't get into this account because there's somebody who owns it and blah, blah. Like I know you cleaned all that up.
Yeah.
So is that how that works?
I'm the only one that
Okay,
can log in
awesome.
right now.
Okay, awesome.
What I do with the coaches though is they'll send me stuff, and then sometimes I copy and paste
Yeah.
what happened. So I'm not in it by myself, but everything that gets posted goes through me first.
Okay, good. Yeah, that I know just over the years, you know, you want the kids to participate and they help, and
Yeah.
then somebody owns it and then you can't get in it. So I'm happy that that is that way. And I'm sorry, on 10, just remind me, 10-3 is what? The-
10-3 is the senior for football
Recognition.
game. Senior recognition for football, cheer, dance, marching band, color guard.
Okay,
And then
I got that.
10-10 would be the homecoming.
Okay, thank you so
Yeah.
much.
You know, like I said, the only reason we flipped it was because of the Jewish holiday.
Yep, okay, perfect. Thank you again.
Actually, I just would like to say like two things as well, highlighting all the amazing things that we're doing with the supports athletics in the district. So the Tiggers, the BOLA Foundation, such an amazing, amazing foundation and resource that we have here that we use. So partnering with them on day one with our athletes, I think is just full circle and showing them, you know, having Tiggers just to back us up in our policies and, you know, where you can go, what you can do, I think is just phenomenal. However we can use them to, we do partner with them on various different, but using them for athletics is amazing. And then I'm excited to see, everything is phenomenal, we're doing great things, but I'm personally excited to see what we do with cheer. So I can't wait to hear more about that, you know, in the future, as my daughter is a competitive cheerleader, so I'm excited about that. And then I think that's it. This is just phenomenal. I did appreciate you, and thank you for coming.
Okay, I want to just piggybacking on everybody's great praise of all of this and all this wonderful stuff. Something you didn't highlight is that I feel like you've done, and I don't know if it's just you or who else from the administration, have done some good work on removing barriers to participation, just like little administrative kind of things. One of the big ones that I know was a sticking point for me year after year after year was having to turn in the physicals 4 times a year, 2-hour little blocks, and if you were at work, oh well. And so having that that ability to use the school nurses to be able to just turn those in was just, I mean, just like such a load off of so many families.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate that.
Yeah, so that was something that with Donna at the high school and Sonia, you know, we all talked about it, and it's been supposedly every year it was an issue, people couldn't get there. So we decided to open it up this spring to see how it worked. And I'm hearing good feedback, it worked, so we'll continue that way. We are going to do a drop-off in the summertime where you can come between 4 and 6, but we have been taking in physicals to the athletic office and scanning them over with Dr. Spiesler. And, you know, even Nancy in the athletic office said, this is the smoothest it's ever went with her. Genesis sometimes can be a little quirky with some things, but, you know, handing in the physicals, there's no reason for a physical to sit there for a month. And we'll just get the kids cleared when we can. So, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you. See everyone around.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of the summer.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Moving on, President's report. I just wanted to let everybody, while it's quiet for the students, it's very, very busy time of year here in the district. Staff and administrators have been hard at work preparing for the upcoming school year as well as future years. We've been talking about the growth across our communities, which has led the district to explore long-term solutions. 2 main options. The district is looking at redrawing elementary school boundary lines and adjusting which grade levels are housed in each building. So that simply means that we could see elementary schools go K through 5, or we might see Lloyd be 3, 4, 5, or we might see changes in which neighborhoods are schools, or all of the above. So all this will need careful planning because it impacts all kinds of things, including transportation, classroom sizes, special services. So this is all will be planned carefully, and everything will be a very long lead time for parents. We're not springing this on anybody, but it will have to come at some point. We also approved some revisions to administrative staffing. It's more fiscally responsible. It helps directly impact more students. The roles include consolidation, office location changes, so administrators, supervisor, director levels are on site to support school leadership teams with curriculum programs and some day-to-day operations. Pleased to report that the fitness court is now fully funded. Aberdeen Township has generously agreed to cover the final remaining expense for the fitness court, which was the concrete pad. So we really appreciate the generosity and the collaboration for this site, which will be open to the entire Mattawa and Aberdeen community. It's funded by 2 grants, including one from the National Fitness Campaign, as well as many generous donations from local businesses and our partnerships here at the district. We've already started some purchase orders to get the ball rolling. I think we have some equipment coming in pieces, right? We have some, it's here, yay. And this is the first of its kind fitness court for the entire county, Monmouth County. So this is an outdoor court. It will be used, integrated into the curriculum for phys ed, for dance, as well as for use for the community as well. So I'm looking forward to that. Now, bad news, we have some facility improvements that are needed that exceed what we have in our budget. So as everybody knows, the board unanimously voted down a state incentivized tax increase last spring. And instead, we will probably have no choice but to go to referendum. I think actually probably is not the right word. We will be looking to seek some funds through a referendum. And that puts the decision in the hands of every voting member of the community. So the goal for that, the district does this, is for November of 2026. So there's a year of planning that's involved with that. And the board's role in that is just supporting the initiatives for what's being sought and how it's spent, and so that we can support the district's decisions in what's really needed, the priorities that are needed for the district that, again, we are not anticipating having funding for elsewhere. And that concludes the president's report. Any questions there?
Yes, I'm very excited about the fitness court we're calling it. That's absolutely phenomenal. I'm excited. Thank you, Anthony, for helping us out. The community will obviously be able to access it. That's great. Are we putting hours on that access? So during school hours. Okay, great.
I didn't hear that answer.
So just like the playgrounds, we put signage up on when you can and can't use the facilities. So we'll do the same thing for the fitness court.
Thank you. Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
Okay, moving on. Curriculum and instruction. Mr. Lehman?
Thank you. Good evening. Curriculum and instruction agenda this evening is for action. Item A, we're asking the board to approve the travel agenda, which is attached. I do want to point out there are board members listed to attend the NJSBA annual workshop in October, so please be aware of that. We're asking the board to approve item B, number 1, which is the 25-26 virtual remote instruction plan. Item number 2, which is the district organizational chart for school year 25-26. Item number 3, we're asking the board to approve the biology textbooks for 93, which includes professional development. This just did not make the And item number 4, we're asking the board to approve the memorandum of agreement between the district and Lightspeed Systems with the rationale listed at zero cost to the district. That concludes curriculum and instruction.
Can I have a motion and a second for accessory curriculum and instruction?
I'll motion. I'll second.
Any questions?
Not so much a question, but a comment. I think I make this comment every year. It is not our district's fault that this is a requirement of the state, but B1 is a virtual remote instruction plan that only applies to public health emergencies. So we could have a hurricane and we don't have to use this plan, and yet somehow we have to have this for a declared public health emergency, the only reason the school would ever close. So I will be abstaining from this once again, as I do every year. Thank you.
I do have just one question. I know I sent it in, but I just wanted to ask exactly what is the Lightspeed grant? I was a little unclear based on the description in the agenda, as well as, you know, the information we've gotten thus far. So I'm just trying to understand, is it PD, materials, is it across all 7 schools? Like, I really like the idea. I saw there was the helpline, which I think is great. I just want to make sure that, obviously, you know, we need to maintain privacy, but, you know, is there a connection back to school? I'm just trying to understand, putting this in place, how it connects with the schools. You know, like, how do they work together? It seems like it's helpline that you call, but I'm just trying to understand what we're getting at.
So I'll answer that. So Currently, the Department of Health has a grant available. It's been in place for the last 2 years. So the grant, what's on the agenda would be for this current year and then 26-27. Currently, the district uses Lightspeed on the students' Chromebooks. It's on our computers. So if someone is searching something that causes an alert to our principals or to our school counselors, it's currently going directly to them. That happens off hours, during the school day, 24/7. Currently, right now, when those situations happen, if the principal gets an alert, then he is calling, if it's off hours, he's calling 911, he's calling dispatch where the student lives, and then the PD picks up from there in terms of doing a well visit and a well check. What has been raised over the last few years, not just here, but throughout the 600 districts in the state of New Jersey, is that when things are happening off hours, because while our administrative team are very good in terms of checking their emails throughout the weekend or during the vacation, it does cause some, concern in terms of what if I don't get the email and then something happens to that particular student. So Lightspeed we currently have, but this is an additional layer to what we currently have, meaning that with the grant, they added through them with Lightspeed, they're together, this stock, I have to put my glasses on, but it's called Safe Engine. They created this grant that they now are utilizing the second floor hotline, which that is in the state of New Jersey, where you can call, anyone can call from. So it could be myself, adults, children, and then they are being screened online. And then they do through that screening, then they're determining the 911. The second floor hotline is 24/7. So Lightspeed works with them. So when we're getting that, when they're getting that alert, and they'll research it, like to see if it's curriculum related, they'll do that, because sometimes that could happen. If they're looking up something like, say, from World War II, they can make the connection, the team's determining what was actually asked in Google, or as opposed to how do I kill myself? Very different. So they are looking at they take a deep dive in terms of the questions and how they're being
And then
asked.
do the principals get, so that it will,
Correct.
just to make sure the
Yes.
principals
So the
principals are aware
They do.
it's off hours.
Yes, so they make the call, and then tomorrow I actually have a call with the Director of Technology in terms of creating the list of contacts, like who are your two go-to people first. So it's always going to be building administrator, probably myself in the cabinet, and then, it kind of goes from there, who's the second point of contact as well. So in terms of confidentiality, currently Lightspeed has access through our student information system, and that's a contract that we do, but it's not, it's the names, they're not collecting. I ask questions like, are you collecting data for further research, to ensure that you continue to get funding? They're not collecting any of this information to secure funding. They're just doing it in terms of decreasing suicide. It's purely prevention.
No,
I hope that
that's
answers your
great. I
question.
just like to make sure the connection happens so that we can protect the child throughout the rest of their day,
Yes.
not just when they were at home.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you.
And Mrs. Foley, I just want to add, where I work, we use Lightspeed, and I was doing a poetry unit, and students were doing Sylvia Plath, who committed suicide. So when they were writing the biography, it actually got flagged, and they got called down to the principal's office to make sure that they were safe. So just to know, it's really a thorough system.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Moving on, student services agenda.
Student services agenda is for action this evening. We're asking the board to approve item number 1, which is a revision from the previous agenda to approve out-of-district placement for 25-26 school year students as listed. We're asking the board to approve item number 2, which is out-of-district placement for students as listed for 25-26 school year. We're asking the board to approve item number 3, the listing of service providers for 25-26 school year as listed. This is a renewal, which is being reflected in a different color. That's on the bottom of page 1, and continues on the top of page 2 and 3. Item number 4, we're asking the district to approve the nursing services for the 25-26 school year, excluding costs and dates listed. And we're asking the board to approve item number 5, which is an agreement for service providers for the 25-26 school year to provide educational services for students who are blind or visually impaired on the bottom of page 202. That concludes student services.
Thank you. Can I have a motion and a second to approve the student services agenda?
Motion.
Any questions? I just have a question. I know there's a large discrepancy in the visually impaired services, and we asked about that because it kind of just raised our flag, but I think you can explain just for the public.
Yes, so the difference in cost for the student that's listed reflects that student has a higher need of service, which includes all educational resources being transmitted to Braille. So in that cost, you also will be rental of the equipment and the resources to translate into Braille.
Thank you. Yeah, there's also a significant differential in the cost for a nurse, and that it's a similar situation where the student has specific services where the nurse needs to be available throughout the day, including on transportation to and from school. So just for the public's knowledge, there's, some of these costs seem exorbitant, but there's a rationale that, and this is something that we're required to do, and it's, we should offer everybody a fair and equal education as stated by law. Personnel, Dr. Rawls?
Thank you very much. In addition to the regular agenda, the board received walk-in items that we are asking the board to take action on this evening. Those items include resignations, leave of absence, and several appointments to fulfill some of our 25-26 school year job responsibilities, as well as extracurricular, athletic coach, and we also have a stipend for benefits of leave of absences on 2 of 2 of that walk-in item. Now for the regular agenda that we are also asking the board to take action on tonight, for the personnel, we have the retirement, as listed on page 1 of 6. We have several leaves of absences as listed in section B, which goes on to page 2 of 6. In addition, we have some more appointments readying us for our school year 25-26 on 2 of 6. We have on page 3 of 6 some extracurricular activities, athletic and also non-athletic activities. Some of these may continue to roll in the next few months to fulfill some of these positions. We have hourly rate as listed on page 3 of 6 as well. We have some curriculum instruction, summer curriculum writing specific to high school math, and some STEM elementary as listed on page 4 of 6. Home instruction as listed for those 2 courses. We have perfect attendance, item 5 on page 4 of 6, which is always exciting news. We have staff array changes, several staff array changes preparing us for the upcoming school year. That leads us to page 5 of 6. We have a district anti-bullying coordinator. Yours truly, Mr. Lehman, will be taking over that at the district level next year. And then we also had a few changes that we needed to make in the school based on staff array changes. We have some student observers listed here. Page 5 of 6. My microphone's going down. And we have volunteers as listed for boys soccer. In section E on page 5 of 6, we have the dip from our last meeting. We also had 2 job descriptions which were shared with the Board of Education. And on page 6 of 6, we have our ESY summer 25-26. ESY listings there, additional staff. We also have some extra hours for our nurse listed and we have some salary adjustments and extra responsibility stipend listed. And item number 8, I want to call to attention in this case, it should be up to 35 hours at that rate of $37.50. That includes some substantive administrative work that we'll be using this year. 25.6. And then finally on page 6 of 6, we have 2 staff members who work with the Unified Grant through the 2014-5 school year, and their compensation for that. That concludes the personnel.
Can I have a motion and a second to approve with that one change? So item 8, substitute administrator, correct, Dr. Wells? It should be 35 an hour, not 30.
Up to 35 hours.
Oh, up to 35 hours, got it, thank you.
And we have to add a number 9 and take away a number 10.
We will, promise.
Okay,
Every minute.
motion and a second with those updates?
I'll motion. I'll second.
Questions?
I just wanted to say congratulations and thank you to the staff members with perfect attendance. I think that's phenomenal, and I love that there were so many staff members from the transportation department, so that was really great.
Ms. Levicki, may I? Just a couple things. Ms. Riley, congratulations on your retirement. Well-deserved, 25 years, that's amazing. You taught my son in kindergarten, and you're phenomenal, and you will be missed. So thank you. I want to say congratulations to Mr. McCumber. I am looking forward to seeing what's done with the basketball team here. Amazing. So congratulations to him. And yes, the perfect attendance. Congratulations to everybody, because that is a big feat. So it's nice to see, and a job well done, and yeah, so that's amazing. So perfect attendance, excellent. Thank you.
If I could also piggyback on what you just said, Ms. Burrell. Mrs. Riley and I did our New Pathways to Teaching alternate route program together, and we learned together, we taught each other together, and she's just a spectacular person. So I just want to wish her, if she's watching this, well on her new journey.
So I too would like to congratulate the retirees, and also Mr. McCumber in his new position. Me and him ran together 12, 13 years ago. So, he's been part of this district for a long time, so, and the community and his kids, and he coaches in Old Bridge, so I'm very happy that he's coming to our district. I think it's he'll be a huge asset. And also the perfect attendance. I love that, 4 of them are in transportation, which is huge. And so I'm glad that we negotiated for that because that was part of our dig to get people in the door, and it seems to be working. So thank you guys. I think that's great because I'm sure that it's very difficult to get substitute bus driver or, at the last minute. So that's good that we didn't have to worry about that this year. Okay, moving on, Dr. Earl's policy.
Yes, we have several new policies that we're first read, so we're not taking action on tonight. It's important to note that the board does receive summaries of each of these policy changes and regulation changes, as well as they receive the actual policies and regulation to review. So up tonight, we have the student representative to the Board of Education. This year, we had Lindsay. That is nothing new for us, but believe it or not, there's some 9 through 12 schools who do not have that. So this legislation is pretty much put into place where any school district that had 9 through 12 students had to have such a teacher. The next one, the Board of Education for website accessibility. That one is, if you go to our website, you'll actually see there's an accessibility tab at the lower part of the screen, left part of the screen. That is for individuals with disabilities who need certain accessibility enhancements to the website. So we are in compliance with that, but that is basically, that was one of the major changes to that policy that came out of the Office of Civil Rights. The next one we have are student surveys, analysis, and evaluation. That is for any survey that is given out to students, especially if it's coming from the state or from a third party or federal for that matter, that parents have to have advance notice, they have to be able to review the survey if they wish to, because there's some surveys that ask things like political allegiance and things of that nature, even some demographic information that parents should be aware of. That's the major change with that one. The surrogate parents and foster parents, that was one that we had some questions on. I did forward questions to our legal counsel, David Rubin, for that, so he will be prepared. He'll give you some things that I'll be able to share with the board in between now and our next meeting when we take action, so you're more educated in that matter. Then we have dress and grooming, which was a pretty outdated policy, goes back to 2010, not a mandatory policy. It's one that we did get teacher feedback on the committee that included teachers, included principal administration. I led the committee. And what we did was we put together with a draft, which we have with the affordable changes that we want to make consider. So we have about a month to take a look at that, and if there's any feedback or anything that you find, any further discussion, we'll be able to make some changes and edits and revisions based on your feedback. But we have a committee that spans from pre-K all the way up to high school, so we did have good participation. Even a summer meeting we had folks for them after school. So I think the teachers, for the staff, for their commitment to that. The final policy that we have is actually regulation that we have is for student attendance. Mr. Regan did a lot of work this year with student attendance in the various committees and so on and so forth. One of the revisions that came out of that was reducing the number of secondary absences for credit from 20 to 18, making it a more rigorous attendance qualification. There's lots more to that regulation, but that was the only thing that we changed at that time for that regulation. That concludes the personnel for first reading. Not the policy.
Thank you. Can I have a motion and a second to accept the policy agenda?
I'll motion.
I'll second.
Any questions?
I didn't have a question, but I just wanted to thank Dr. Rawls for the efforts with the staff dress code, because that sounds like a great process, working with all the staff and getting that kind of feedback. It's really good to hear. And also, I just was noting, I mean, I think this is more of the state and Strauss more than FESME, but it's nice to see standard policies for website accessibility having, for the public's benefit, it removed kind of outs to not be as accessible. Now this has to be accessible. That's just how it is. And with something like a district website, that's absolutely essential. So I really appreciate that.
I had a few questions or just things to bring up for the board to consider on a few of the policies. So if you'd like me to take a break, I have 3 that I wanted to talk about. So the first one was about the student representative. And it was so interesting, thank you, to have a policy to read and see what the responsibilities were, because I hadn't seen it before. And I saw very specifically that one of the roles was for that student representative to bring student proposals and concerns forward. And I don't know that those students who do that role know that that's something that they can be a leader in, and that, because we've never heard anything brought. And there has to be some things that students in the district want changed or acknowledgement for, or want us to be cognizant of. The only one that we've really heard is when those students came about the garden, and that wasn't through the student representative. So I would very much like to see that message get out to the student representatives so that they can play a more powerful role, because it seems like their role right now, as well as it does for us, they're simply collecting information from the different principals. And this would really empower them to be able to speak for their student body, and for their student body then to know that they can come to that person, that they have a power role on this board. It just, to me, it might have always been there, but it elevates the ability of that person to make change and make us know, because the kids know things that we don't know. So I don't know if I should let anyone else speak to that, or whether I should move on to the next comments I have.
I mean, Ms. Scott, I agree with you. I think otherwise it is just reporting out what they get directly from the principals. I'm guessing that's who they meet with. But I like that idea because it does give them more of a leadership role, more of a voice. Plus it helps us understand too, because kids aren't always confident enough to come to our meetings and speak. We know it's a scary thing. It's scary for us sometimes, to talk about certain sensitive topics. So imagine being a kid and doing that. So if they feel like they have someone who could, voice their concerns, I think that's great. Yeah, I agree. I think it's been kind of over the years sort of this like ceremonial position, and they get all the information and they write the report, and Lindsay did a fabulous job this year. It was very thorough and lots of information, very entertaining. She enjoyed doing it, it was obvious. But yeah, if we just could relay that to whoever is next in that seat, that's part of their role, that would be great.
I'll discuss it with Mr. Wells in terms of kind of coming up with process and in terms of what's going on in the buildings, and maybe the rep asking those questions. And also something that comes to mind is also that we approve a lot of the policies for students, but then actually maybe that person taking an active role in terms of giving a little bit of insight what is good and what maybe we don't need.
And I think naturally a lot of those things happen at the school. A lot of those schools have students like almost like councils that they meet with, that they get information from. So I think indirectly a lot of those things lead our way, but it's not formalized through the actual representative. So maybe the representative can meet with those individual school councils and get their feedback and information to the board.
Because I think sometimes it just doesn't make it things. So like, well, the buildings may know, or you guys may know, the board may not know, unless you happen to have a kid in the building.
Yeah. A perfect example is mass use. So when the students were taking the survey and they were, at Mr. Wells's door complaining or whatever, so maybe highlighting those sorts of things, like even when it's like new vendors in our schools and things like that, so.
And there may be crossovers in different schools with similar issues, and we wouldn't know because it's only at the building level. Well, the second thing I wanted to bring up is dress and grooming. First of all, I was so impressed to see sneakers appear on that. And first there might be like, why are they allowed to wear sneakers? That's not professional. Well, I'd like all of you to know that every school is a concrete floor that we're walking on every single day and standing on every single day. And the truth be told, fashion has changed to where we almost can't tell the difference at times between dress shoes and sneakers, especially when I've seen in male fashion these days. So I'm so glad to see that be a part of it. There's only one part that was a concern of mine, and it talked about the appropriate length of skirts and things of that nature. And when we have language in that talks about appropriate length, and we don't know what that appropriate length is, it can't be enforced. And if we try to enforce it, it's going to be discriminatory. We see this all the time. I hear teen students in my school talk about the fact that they bought the same exact skirt at the same exact place and the same exact size, but because one body is longer than the other, one is shamed for wearing it and may have implications disciplinary, and the other one won't. So I'd be very careful with us voting and saying yes to a policy that has language in it that is that amorphous. And I don't think it's fair to administrators because then they can't enforce it. I don't know what the solution is. I will be forthright with that, but that's a concern. So I don't know if anyone else would like to comment or question.
I mean, the only thing I could say is we'd have to put measurements in, right? Like 2 inches below the end of your bottom. I don't know.
Go back to my Catholic school days, and tell you how it used to work.
Well, since this is a first read, we'll have to
Yes,
look
we'll have
into
to
that.
talk about it.
I mean, I know that this gets sticky, like we say, like figurative length and all that stuff, and believe me, the kids do all kinds of things when they're dress coded, and so I totally can see how if it felt that you were being picked on for whatever reason. I know the kids sometimes feel that way, so I agree. I don't know what the answer is, but maybe something more definitive, we can see what we can come up with.
Yes, we can definitely review that. It's tough.
It
It's,
is.
because sometimes less is more with these types of policies. Because if you're too specific, it becomes where administrators are coming in just to do that role, to enforce a policy like such as just. But those are really valid points that speak to appropriateness because that is relative to different situations.
Thank you. And the last thing I wanted to talk about, I believe it occurred in the student attendance policy. And we all know when we're doing policy, we want to talk about things not being subjective and being fair. And I just read one line that quoted saying that students would receive a reasonable amount of time as determined by the teacher to make up the work missed when they're absent. And I'm a teacher. I want to be in charge of my classroom. But I do have to say, with both of my children who have gone through this district, having so many different teachers have different policies for being absent, and both of my children have had numerous experiences with teachers where if they were absent, they were still expected to have the work in the next day, even if they were sick. Being sick was not an excuse, which is ridiculous. You're homesick. How can you have the work done? You missed the instruction and you missed getting perhaps the assignment. Maybe it's on Google Classroom, but you can't do it because you weren't there for the instruction. So I just wanted to throw out there a suggestion for this one. In my school, it is policy in the student handbook, and I don't know if it's in the actual policy, but for every day you were out sick, you were allowed 2 school days to make up the assignment. And I would like to see it codified in more of a way like that, more specificity. Not that I don't trust teachers, but I have the personal experience in this district of my students flipping out about being absent, and they can't be absent, and then when they are and the assignment is due and they're being penalized, and then I have to coach them to write an email to the teacher, and it just shouldn't be like that. So I'm throwing that out there too, and of course it's to whatever the majority thinks.
So I agree with you on that because I've had the exact same experience where my kids have been absent numerous days in a row and still expected to come in with all of the work completed. And I think it's because of technology, honestly. Like, it's in Google Classroom. You should have checked Google Classroom. But if they weren't there to learn, then it's very hard to come in and have the work already done. Frankly, I've written probably at least 5 emails over the years explaining that the missing that's now then eventually turns into a 0 was because my child was out and they needed the time to actually make up the work because it's however many classes. But I agree 100% that there should be something, and I think
It's something, that means you're cut off. But I think it's something that, even if we write the policy, it needs to actually happen, because I tend to feel like it could be here, but unless the staff is aware, it won't happen.
Two-step process.
It's a 2-step, it doesn't stop with us.
I would just want to say, I agree with that, and what I like about it is consistency. I can't stand that every classroom and every school does a different thing. I know some things, of course, are catered to the classroom and the time, but following, that's why there's policy. So I really would like it to be consistent, so the kids know moving forward where they're at, regardless of what seat they're sitting in. So I would be very open to that.
Yeah, I would also agree. My son, who does not attend Mattawan, but is in high school, has had a similar experience of being penalized for not completing work when he had 103 fever. So yes, our kids deserve some standards, and unfortunately, even great teachers can sometimes have unreasonable expectations.
I also love that idea that it unifies the buildings, the classes, and it doesn't take away from the teacher's autonomy. However, it does unify, at least the makeup of the homework. And the student cannot, in my opinion, a student, if they don't learn the content, how can they be responsible for the homework? So 2 days for 1 day absent, I don't think is unrealistic. So I think that's a great idea.
I also agree because it gives clarity to the parents. Because if, you have one crying student, which I've had many times, this one teacher allows this and another teacher allows this, and the parent can't keep track of it all, nor can really the students, then everyone is really on the same page.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lori. Ms. Bell. Anything else?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, moving on to finance, Ms. Case.
This evening, we'll be looking
We take action on the following items. The board secretary's report for the month of June, all 3 payrolls for the month of June, as well as acceptance of the board secretary's report, treasurer's report, appropriation transfers. The approval of the bills list is for the end of June as well as the beginning of July. As we move on to page 2, we're doing the allocations for non-publics as listed in the chart. 6, the IDEA. We are thrilled that we've received all of our money and didn't lose out this year, as well as acceptance of the grant funds for our Recovery High School. It's in the amount of $200,000 over the next 4 years. Perkins secondary consolidation that's utilized for the high school. Number 9 is the settlement agreement as listed. 10 is the renewable flood insurance for the school year. 11 through 15 is the application for the KEYS program. When we talk about the KEYS program, there are 2 separate rates that were board approved during the budget process. One is a special ed rate, while the other rate is for general ed, so that is the difference. This is all money coming in and only utilized for KEYS. The state decided for any qualified purchasing agent that they moved the bid threshold up from 44,000 to 53,000, so we have to reapprove it at the new effective rate. We are also thrilled to accept multiple donations. One is an anonymous donor for the lunch account. 18, 19, 20, 21 is all for the fitness court. And 22, we are so thrilled at the high school PTO. They donated close to $10,000 worth of new furniture for the lunch. 23 is the routine travel reimbursements as listed for the chart. 24 is the sale and disposal of assets. In order for us to get rid of anything, we have to put it on here. The one great thing about this is that it is for band equipment, so we have the ability to work with our vendors so that they can give us a trade-in price. Then that trade-in price we can utilize to replace the units that can no longer be repaired or utilize it towards repairs for next year. 25 is the fire and evacuation drills for the month of June, and that concludes
I would like to make a motion to table item 9 because I'm not 100% sure that everybody on the board has had a chance to note that agreement.
I'll second.
Alright, so we'll take a moment to roll call just for item number 9 to table it. Mrs. Foley?
So we're okay.
So we can table it, we can go into executive session, we can discuss it.
Oh, okay, we can
Take
come back.
action, we'll come back out.
Gotcha.
And at that time, if you feel comfortable, you can take action on this particular item. So right now, we'll just need to table it until yeah. Ms. Wiles?
Yes.
Mr. Montone?
Yes.
Ms. Powell?
Yes.
Ms. Scott?
Yes.
Yes. Ms. Martinez?
Yeah.
Ms. White?
Yes.
Motion.
Thank you. Can I have a motion and a second to accept the finance agenda minus the item that was tabled?
Yeah. I'll motion.
Thank you. Questions, please?
Yes, I just wanted to also thank everybody. The donations are amazing, and I really appreciate everything that was sent in for lunch, from the PTO, for the fitness pad. I did want to know, though, are we able to, so I know we're going to do a big thing when we, and I'm sure you already have this, I think you did, planned, but like when we do a ribbon cutting, is there going to be a way that we could display who donated? Like just something to, show our appreciation or something?
Yes, we're discussing what that will look
Okay,
like.
all right, perfect, thank you.
Can I ask you a question?
The Perkins Secondary Consolidated Application, I just don't know what that is.
Perkins is a federal grant, so for K through 12 public schools, the money specifically goes to high schools for our CTE, our continuing ed programs. So what we had done past school year, we received the funds. It went towards some academic tutoring and some curriculum writing and some planning of CTE programs in the coming school year. The plan with this fund would be similar, which would be offering some tutoring and mentoring for our students during this school.
Thank you.
And then also I wanted to say that it's fantastic about getting the money for fees. As is noted here, we're helping students from Middlesex, Monmouth, Coaching County now as well that we're accepting. So all that money really helps us because it can't come out of our budget. So the fact that we're getting the funding to support these kids in recovery and still giving them an education is awesome. So I'm very, very, very happy about that.
Mrs. Coley, can I just interrupt a minute? Can you hear us? Because I'm really I'm having an anxiety attack because I feel like we're doing this for nothing.
Is that better?
No, they heard me.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we need to know if you can, because I know I can, and she's right there.
Sorry, I'll talk louder. It goes in and out. So I was
Just saying that it's great that we got this funding because we're able to accept students from other districts like Middlesex, Monmouth, and Ocean counties. Also, thank you for all the donations, and also thank you to the PTO for the high school, because that's amazing that they're donating so much money to get us good furniture in the lobby.
I just want to comment on the grant that we received, and Ms. Case, if we can note it for the minutes, that the grant is actually through the Monmouth County Commissioners. So we applied, this is in addition to the Recovery Access Grant that we've been receiving over the last few years. So it's an additional.
So thank you to all of you then for writing the application for it.
I also want to say the donations are unbelievable, and we've been so concerned about, rightfully so, about the school lunch debt. To have a second person come in and donate hundreds of dollars, over $400, just thank you. The PTO giving us with the school furniture, and the fitness court, just wonderful. It's just something that I very much ask that we be provided with the information soon and very specifically. When my child came home and asked for $85 in cash to pay for a graduation gown, I was aghast to pay that much. Then when I see in the bills list, cap and gown was only $4,841 in the list, and maybe there were other fees. But even if I just say, I've done it 3 times to make sure, if we only say 200 people graduated times 85 is $17,000. And it was asked for in cash. We were not allowed to bring in checks. I want to know where this money went.
That's actually broken down into 2 payments. So it's broken down into 2 payments. So in order to receive the item up front, we pay half up front, and then we pay half at the return.
That's still only $10,000. Our kids paid over $17,000. Our parents, our families paid $85 in cash. We should not be, it should go into a school account. It should not be in cash. And and it could be all above board. I just think needs to be accounted for, and that number for next year needs to come down. That is ridiculous to ask people to pay $85 for a gown that is nylon, that is going to be worn one time. I also just wanted to ask about the grad pictures. Taking those pictures was phenomenal. We got to download them, was wonderful, but it seems that we were charged $3,200 for those pictures to be taken at graduation. Just seems like a lot of money to have a photographer taking pictures for a few hours and uploading them. So I'm just curious about who negotiated that as well.
Ms. Scott, I know you had mentioned earlier a company that you guys use in Hazlet, and I know they had noted on here that they were open to the information because we have had Normandy forever, and I'm not sure how that works. Lindsay, is that something like that we would eventually have to bid out, or
We'll work with
the advisors?
The advisor.
Yeah, maybe to change it up a little bit to be able to lessen it. So that, like, maybe you could forward that information.
Sure.
Thank you.
I would, if I could just piggyback off of that, I know in some of the lower buildings, like the Boyd Road School and Stratford, they do their lip sync, and we take, there's professional pictures that are taken there that are sponsored by somebody, I'm assuming the PTO, whoever's organizing the event. And I personally know the photographer, very reasonable, excellent, can pass along the information, already comes into the building, so maybe clearance-wise accepted, and that might be an option too, so. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Scott. I also, I think the caps and gowns go up every year. Only 2 years ago, I paid $65, so that's a big increase in a couple of years. I know that the quality is not great. We get a lot of complaints on Facebook about, their kids, they just open it up the morning of, and the zipper's broken, and things like that. So, yes, I also think it would be great if we could look into some options. So just as an idea, when I was in high school, we rented them. Well, the school district purchased them at one point, so it's a big expense out front, but it's a really good quality cap and gown. And when we went to get our diploma, after the ceremony, we handed in our cap and gown, and if we didn't hand it in, we didn't get our diploma. So that's how they made sure they all came back. And they were given out, a couple days before or whatnot. So just a thought there, or I don't know, but yeah, it's been just a lot of, the last 3-4 years, a lot of chatter about the price as well as the quality of those. And I have 3 maroon caps and gowns between 8th grade. So, and no, I asked if I could reuse it. No, gotta buy a new one. So that's another thing. Right. So anyway.
And I don't want it to be lost. I'm really concerned about it being in cash. Like, why? Other things we write goes directly into the school fund. We don't bring in cash. So it just, the optics are that something is very wrong and someone's pocketing money. I'm not saying that's what's happening, but you need accounting and it should not be in cash.
I don't think it's that someone's pocketing up. We'll provide clarification, and I'll meet with Mr. Wells in terms of where the funds went to, and provide the information back to the board.
Any other questions? Okay. The Board of Education recognizes the value of public comment on matters of interest to the school community. Individuals wishing to speak must state their name and address. Comments are limited to 3 minutes duration, but an individual may speak a second time after all others who wish to speak on the topic have been heard. All statements should be directed to the board president, and no participant may address or question board members individually. All speakers are requested to express themselves in a civil manner, with due respect for the dignity and privacy of others whose legal rights may be affected. Please note, while it is not the board's intention to stifle comment on matters of legitimate concern, the public should be aware that if their statements violate the rights of others under the law of defamation or invasion of privacy, they may face personal liability to the injured party. If speakers are uncertain of the legal ramifications of their comments, the board urges them to seek guidance beforehand from their own legal advisor.
Casey Burrow, Farmingdale, New Jersey. Miss Martinez, I can hear you. That's all it needs.
I never need a microphone, Mr.
You
Baroka.
said, we're doing this for nothing. What about us?
Well, I'm sorry, you mean a lot to me, you do,
Thank you.
but you're not the only one, sorry.
Okay.
I apologize.
Just a clarification in the conversation that was had about student attendance and the duration of time. And I know I'm supposed to direct to you, but is it okay if I actually ask Mrs. Goff, since it is something that happens in her district? Is it a minimum of 2 days where the teacher could give more time if needed? Or is it 2 days hard and fast that it has to be in at that time?
You may
That's a
respond,
really-
Ms. Stella.
Oh, thank you. That's a really good question, thank you. The minimum, it's just that we have to give at least 2 days. So
Okay.
they get a chance to come back the next day, ask questions, get what they need, and then hand it in the next day. But
Okay.
sure, if a teacher wanted to give longer,
Okay, perfect. And then with the dress code, I'm going to beg you to be as specific as you can be, so that I just don't have to deal with, like I'm turning into Tim Gunn from whatever that show he was on where they...
Fashion emergency.
There you go, look at that. I mean, I do like that there's more flexibility with it, it sounds like, which is great. I agree with the comment you made about what is the appropriate length. Someone is going to go, well, my appropriate length is this high, and someone else is going to be here. And I'm just reminded of, for example, I'm pretty certain at the middle school and the high school, you are not finding girls that wear shorts that are fingertip length. I don't even think you can buy them. I don't think they exist. So there's no staff member that's like, those shorts, they're too short. I mean, if they're appropriate, they're appropriate. So we kind of know that. So that's all. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Baroka. Anybody else? Public comment? Okay. Before we adjourn from public session, I just want to say that I think board members need to be really careful about even theorizing or speculating about funds before we have a chance to find out more information. Just wanted to throw that out there.
I've heard community comments, which I was reiterating, but thank you.
I'm sorry?
Community comments from other people have been sent to me, but thank you.
But I wasn't sure of that, so just wanted to make sure. Thank you. We're going to vote?
Can I add one more thing
Oh.
before we close? Mr. Brokus made me remember something. We also have to make sure with dress code, as far as students go, that like is like. Because even though, like with sports teams, boys do run without tops on, and girls have been literally shamed by their coaches for their sports bras showing underneath their tank tops when they're working out. So as you're saying, Mr. Barokas, in terms of fair being fair, we have to enforce it across the board.
Thank you, Ms. President.
I just wanted to note on the walk-in item that there are 2 employees that are in the Maria that are now being promoted to supervisors, so I appreciate the board support with, us embarking on training and mentoring our current staff, because it is great to be able to advance our staff in terms of those leadership positions, and they know our community, so I appreciate that.
Thank you, Ms. President. Congratulations to them. I know that it's important to the cabinet in the district that we really cultivate and nurture talent from within our own ranks, so that's great news.
Sorry, I just want to also say, I forgot because I had noted that too, that ever since I've been around, we've always promoted from within. So I know that was very important to the last superintendent as well as it is to the new superintendent and the same cabinet. And so I love that, and that's how Ms. Perez got her job. But no, I just love that, because if you have to go out and find somebody brand new that doesn't know the community or the staff, it's just so much better this way. Now, on the flip side is now we gotta cover their positions, but yeah, I mean, but other than that, we love it, so, thank
Don't worry,
you.
Casey.
Thank you, Casey, thank you.
What do I do?
So we'll be taking action on CNI, special services, personnel plus the walk-in policy, finance minus item number 9 that was tabled. Mrs. Foley?
Yes, and policy we can still make revisions for.
Correct.
Yes.
Mr. Mata?
You're saying yes or no for voting on?
Yes.
Ms. Powell?
Abstaining on curriculum instruction A and B1, yes on everything else.
A and B1.
Yes.
So noted. Ms. Scott?
Yes, but I am abstaining from the travel piece where I'm listed. I'm not sure what number or section to say about that.
So noted. Ms. Burrell?
I just have one quick question on the travel under transportation. I see the registration fee, but then there's the transportation fee, and I'm just wondering if you could clarify what that is for, listed for me for 178.57. What is that?
That's if you're putting for mileage, going back and forth every day.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay, I didn't, okay, great, I didn't know that existed, I've never opted for that. So anyway, I'm going to vote yes, except for the travel item A, in curriculum instruction. Thank you.
Ms. Martinez?
Yes, except I'm abstaining from B1. Thank you.
Yes. Oh, sorry. Yes. I'm also abstaining on B1 for the same reasons stated by Ms. Pell earlier, and finance travel line 10. Thank you.
Should I be concerned that I'm not on travel? I was like, wasn't I? Got it. Okay, I didn't even know
Thank you. Okay, be it resolved that a closed session be convened for the purpose of discussing privacy, personal matters, and legal advice. The subject matter of these discussions will be disclosed to the public when the reason for confidentiality subsides. Although the board cannot guarantee it, the length of executive session is determined to be 45 minutes, after which the public meeting of the board shall reconvene and proceed with business. Action will take place. Can I have a motion and a second?
I'll motion.
I'll second. Thank you.